upgrade A. In other words, we can do more than we're doing. To which I responded, well, I can upgrade A2 if you want. It's like what I'm doing here is pretty straightforward, peaceful public protest. There's lots of things that people can do in peaceful public protest that I'm not doing. I don't have a megaphone. I'm not shouting slogans all the time. I could do that. I could come every Sunday with a megaphone and make all kinds of noise. I could bring whistles and horns and all that kind of stuff that is often done during peaceful public protests, and as far as I'm concerned, it would be perfectly legal. So I think this, having a few picket signs, walking back and forth, occasionally making a statement or two to some of the church members, to say nothing of having chats with the public, is a pretty low-level, very peaceful form of peaceful public protest. I could easily upgrade, as it were, from what I'm doing right now, which is essentially what I've been doing from the very beginning of this protest. I should perhaps mention that since we're speaking at the very beginning of this protest, we're coming up to a pretty significant anniversary. This protest in front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal began in May of 1998, and it is now March of 2017, so do the math. Essentially, next May, in the middle or the last couple of weeks of May, I don't remember the exact date when I first began protesting, but it was before June of 1998. It was sometime in May. So sometime in May will mark the 19th year since the beginning of my protest, and essentially 18 years of protesting, because there was a one-year period in which the Unitarian Church of Montreal was able to obtain a restraining order on the basis of perjurious lies and paranoid fantasies of Reverend Diane Rollert and other members of the Unitarian Church of Montreal. They basically claimed to be very, very, very frightened of me, and they were afraid that I was going to cause, some kind of physical attack on them or whatever, which of course has never happened. On the contrary, I've been assaulted on several occasions by Montreal Unitarians, but nonetheless, they made this big claim to be extremely frightened of me and, basically afraid for their, personal safety and so on. And I got one of the worst judges in Quebec presiding over the hearings for the restraining order, one Roland Matt. I don't mind naming her because pretty much every person in the know about, Quebec judges knows that Roland Matt is...
You have a problem against gay people?
What does the picket sign say? It's got nothing to do with gay people unless they happen to be pedophiles or rapists. I do have a problem with pedophiles and rapists, and I have a problem with religious communities that cover up pedophilia and rape in their religious community. I don't know where you got the idea I had a problem with gay people, because all it says is Unitarian Universalist, perverted, or justice sucks you after SU. Where'd you get, how did you come up with that idea? So this young lady on a bike stops, gets off her bike, and says, do you have a problem with gay people? Well, there's nothing about gay people on my picket signs. In fact, the pedophiles and rapists that I'm have blogged about were heterosexual. They were males raping females. Now, truth be told, I do know of some cases of homosexual Unitarian Universalists engaging in sexual assault and so on, pedophilia. But I hadn't actually blogged about them prior to being falsely accused of blasphemous libel by the Unitarian Universalist Association. I could still get around to that. I have mentioned them a few times here and there, but I haven't, devoted a full blog post to the Unitarian Universalist religious educator who adopted a young boy. This was a homosexual male. He was actually married to another male. This was in Oregon, Clackamas, Oregon area. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the exact specific Unitarian Universalist church he was the religious educator for, but he was in fact the religious educator at a Unitarian Universalist church in Oregon, in the Clackamas region. And he adopted a young boy who I believe was 11 at the beginning of the adoption, and he proceeded to repeatedly sexually abuse him over a period measured in years. He also sexually abused other young boys. He was involved with some sports teams and some other sort of activities, and he was, abusing boys. And I should add that in terms of the young boy he adopted, he was actually convicted of actual rape, like full-on rape of this young boy who, as I said, was as young as 11 years old when he was first adopted and the sex abuse began. So that's one homosexual, pedophile, rapist, Unitarian Universalist religious educator for you. His name, by the way, is Stephen Craig Bullite. So if you Google Stephen Craig Bullite, you should find information about that. The last name Bullite is B-U-L-L-E-I-T. Stephen is with a V, if I'm not mistaken. I think everyone knows how to spell Craig. So yeah, if you Google Stephen Craig Bullite, you should find some sources of information on the internet about the fact that he was convicted of not just pedophilia and rape, but producing child porn and so on. Effectively, what happened is Stephen Craig Bullite took his computer in for repair one day, and the computer repair people found images of sexual abuse of children on his computer in the process of working on it, and they reported this to the police, and it proceeded from there. So essentially the police investigated, and they discovered that Stephen Craig Bullite had in fact been sexually abusing boys for quite some time, and had sexually abused this young boy that he had adopted when he was 11 years old. So, as I said, this young lady, I really don't know where she got the idea I was talking about gay people, because there's nothing about gay people on my picket signs. I think what it is the Unitarian Universalist Church, sets itself up as the great champion of gay people, gay marriage. They're very vocal and public about it, and so maybe she thought, just the fact that I was protesting in front of a Unitarian church meant that I was anti-gay, etc. Well, no, I'm not anti-gay. I'm anti-pedophilia and rape, and I'm anti-Unitarian Universalists, protecting the pedophiles and rapists within their religious community, both before and even after they're convicted of crimes. Basically doing everything they can to keep it hidden from the public. In some instances, trying to protect the clergy, especially from facing the legal consequences of their crimes, protecting them from being charged and convicted and so on. It's like David Rowlett song. Here's another one for you, David. So David, how does it feel to be a knowing and willful participant in Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers? Are you proud of that? Because you are in fact a knowing and willful participant in Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial. You're not just passively complicit in it. When you erased my chalk slogans, which protest against Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of pedophilia and rape, you, sir, were a participant in the cover-up itself. So I hope you're very proud of yourself, David. I'm going to continue to circulate back and forth here, but that's, one of the ways that I think is perfectly legal, for me to chastise certain members of the church that are, involved in this. I mean, every single member of the Unitarian Church of Montreal is complicit in the injustices and abuses that I'm protesting against, all of them, not just the misuse of blasphemy law by, not just the misuse, so Dave's still filming, which is fine by me. Dave can film me all he wants. He can post the video to YouTube. I see we're almost out of time on this half-hour segment, but I'm glad to see we're still recording. So there he is. There's David Rollert, who's the husband of the minister, and he's filming my protest, which I don't mind at all. He's most welcome to. Here's an old one, Dave. This sign dates back to the beginning of my protest, and it references the anti-religious intolerance and bigotry of Reverend Ray. Oh, you're smiling. You think it's funny. You think Reverend Ray Drennan's anti-religious. Oh, you're laughing. Oh, you're big chuckle. Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you a story about Reverend Ray Drennan. You can laugh all you want. On October 9th of 2000, Reverend Ray Drennan verbally shit all over Pierre Elliott Trudeau's Roman Catholic state funeral. In his wrong message editorial, which I think was very appropriately titled, he repeatedly insulted the fact that the state funeral for Pierre Elliott Trudeau was a Roman Catholic religious ceremony. And not only that, he took a swipe at every religion by suggesting that all religious beliefs are meaningless. So you can laugh all you want about Reverend Ray Drennan's anti-religious intolerance and bigotry, but when he went public with it, no less than 50 members of the Montreal public wrote letters to the editor of the Montreal Gazette condemning it, and 5 of them were published. So take that and shove it up your hypocritical ass. So that's David Rollert. Glad to hear that was all recorded, because David Rollert is an outrageous hypocrite who is basically laughing about the issues that I am protesting against. Every single issue I'm protesting is